You've probably heard a million times to watch your salt if you're worried about blood pressure, right? But what if I told you that's only half the story? Today we're diving into the other side of the equation, the powerful role of potassium, and we're going to get specific about exactly how much you might need.
So, what if the real secret to helping your blood pressure wasn't found in a pharmacy, but was actually hiding in plain sight in your kitchen pantry? We are about to uncover a super powerful, totally natural tool that you can start using with your very next meal.
And that secret weapon? It's potassium. Yeah, sodium gets all the bad press, but potassium is the unsung hero working quietly behind the scenes. Think of it as a critical player in this delicate dance that keeps our whole cardiovascular system happy and in balance.
So what's the magic number we're aiming for? Well, the research points to a pretty clear target for most adults, somewhere between 3,500 and 5,000 milligrams of potassium a day. Now, this isn't just a random suggestion. It's the range that's consistently tied to better blood pressure control. Let's keep that number in our heads as we go.
Okay, so we have our target, but how does a simple mineral actually do this? What's really going on inside our bodies when we get enough potassium? Well, the science is actually surprisingly simple and incredibly cool.
So here's the deal. Potassium delivers this amazing 1-2 punch. First, it literally tells your kidneys, hey, let's get rid of some of this extra sodium. You know, the stuff that makes your body hold on to water and drives up pressure. So less sodium means less fluid, which means lower pressure. But that's not all. At the same time, it helps the walls of your blood vessels just relax. It eases that tension, giving your blood more room to flow. It's a brilliant 2-for-1 deal.
All right, we get the science, we know the number. Now for the best part. Where do we actually find all this potassium? And the great news is you don't need to go searching for some exotic, expensive superfood. This stuff is hiding in foods you probably already know and love.
Now, when you hear potassium, what's the first thing that pops into your head? A banana, right? Everybody thinks bananas. And hey, you're not wrong, but they are just the tip of the iceberg. We're about to look at some surprising nutritional powerhouses that might just blow bananas out of the water.
Just take a look at these numbers. 1 cup of cooked tomato sauce or puree, over 500 milligrams. A single potato, with the skin on, more than 400. You can see how fast this can add up. Just adding a couple of these foods into your day can get you a huge chunk of the way towards that 3,500 milligram goal.
And it doesn't stop there. Potassium is pretty much everywhere. It's packed into beans and lentils, it's in dairy like milk and yogurt, you'll find it in fish and chicken, even nuts, seeds, and whole grains are getting in on the action. This makes building a potassium-rich diet not just easy, but really diverse and delicious.
Now, with all this talk about food, I know what you might be thinking. Can't I just, take a pill for this? It's a fair question, especially when we're all so busy. So are supplements a legit shortcut? Well, when you look at the advice from health experts, they're pretty much unanimous on this one. The message is crystal clear: food first. The absolute best way to get your potassium is from your plate, not from a bottle.
So why are they so big on food? Because food gives you the whole package. A potato, for instance, doesn't just give you potassium. It also gives you fiber, vitamins, and other good stuff that all work together to support your heart. Supplements might have a place if a doctor recommends them, but they just can't replicate that teamwork you get from whole foods. Plus, the research on whether they even work is kind of mixed.
Okay, now before you run off and start a new all-potato diet, we need to pump the brakes for a minute and have a serious talk. Because with potassium, more is not always better. And for some people, loading up without talking to a doctor can actually be dangerous.
The main worry here is a condition called hyperkalemia. It sounds complicated, but it just means too much potassium in the blood. Now, for most of us with healthy kidneys, our bodies are great at filtering out any extra we don't need. But if your kidneys aren't working perfectly, that excess can build up and become a real problem.
This is really, really important. If you have kidney disease, if you're on dialysis, if you take certain types of blood pressure medications, or if you use those salt substitutes, you absolutely have to talk to your healthcare provider first. Do not start changing your potassium intake on your own. They'll help you figure out what's safe for you.
And honestly, for all of us, it's a good idea to know the warning signs of potassium levels getting too high. Things like sudden muscle weakness, feeling nauseous, or any weird fluttering or unusual heartbeats. Those are things you should take seriously and get checked out right away.
Okay, so let's put this all together into a simple 3-step action plan. Step 1, just take note. For a few days, pay attention to what you're eating and get a rough idea of where you are right now. Step 2, talk. Take this info to your doctor, discuss your goals, and make a plan together. And step 3, monitor. As you make changes, just be aware of how you feel. It's that simple. We've covered a ton of ground here, from the science down to the dinner plate. The big takeaway is that making small, smart food choices can have a huge impact on your health. So that brings us to one final, simple question to get you started. Looking back at all those powerhouse foods, what's just one thing you're going to add to your plate this week?